Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm Prashant, I'm the founder of Word Pandit, and I'm bringing this series to you, which is essentially for CAT 2022. We've got 60 days to go, 60 power pack days. How should you approach them? What is it that you should do? How should you mentally approach your preparation from this point onwards? These are all different parameters that we are going to cover in this particular series. I'm starting off with 3 pointers today. So this little video is going to contain 3 things that you should do for your prep. And as we go on in this series, I will also add some information with respect to topics. So for example, how to approach RCs. All these questions I will answer them one by one, and I would actually request you guys to leave comments for the questions that you want me to answer the following day, right? So let's keep it as interactive as possible, and I'll try to come up with a broad framework that you can adopt for your preparation. What's the first prep ingredient that you've got to keep in mind at this stage of preparation? Thing number 1, stop collecting stuff. This is super important. Please, whatever you do, do not do this. Do not collect more material, more content, more courses, added test series. I'm including my own course in this, right? So don't keep adding stuff. The time for that is gone now, right? Focus on everything that you have, right? And using that in the best possible way. The effort that you've got to put in at this stage is maximizing what you have, right? You don't need extra material. Extra material is just going to sit there. It's not going to solve itself, right? And you will just end up feeling overwhelmed. So don't do that. And also, please do not download stuff from random Google Drive links. They'll give you lots and lots of data, but you will not know what to do with it, right? Hence, follow whichever course that you are following, whichever book that you are following, whichever material that you are following. Please follow it, complete it, and follow it in the method prescribed. That's going to help you achieve the maximum possible efficiency. One thing that you've got to be 100% committed to is do not just end up collecting more and more stuff, because that's all you'll end up doing, right? That's all you'll spend your energy on. So that's the first thing. That's a thing that you do not have to do from this point onwards. We are starting with a negation, right? We're starting with a negative first. Prep ingredient 2, simple thing that you will carry out a SWOT analysis now. Today is actually the perfect day, 60 days to go, 2 months to go. So now let's carry out a SWOT analysis. What is a SWOT analysis? Take a notebook or take a sheet of paper, write down your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Every topic. So for example, all your mathematics topics, quantitative aptitude topics, right? List them down. Percentages, time and work, all the topics in algebra, say functions, quadratic equations, so on and so forth. List all those areas down, right? Same thing with English. English for CAT or VARC, to be technically precise, has verbal ability and RCs, right? And verbal ability further has 3 topics. So you list all those down, and for LRDI, all the set categorizations. Identify the ones which are strengths for you. So you are going to frequently revise these. Which are weaknesses for you, which are opportunities, right? And which are threats for you. Threats are areas which would be very difficult for you to overcome at this stage. So identify on the basis of this. See, there are always going to be things that you are good at. So you need to keep working on them. Make sure that you keep strengthening them further. There are some weaknesses which you can convert into opportunities, right? Those are possible areas where you can improve, right? And there are some threats. It's better to identify things that right now at this stage, what is it that you've got to skip? So for example, I'll just take my own personal example here so that you guys can understand what I'm saying. With respect to quantitative aptitude, right? And I'm taking up a subject which is not my area of expertise as such, right? I'm a verbal guy. So with respect to quantitative aptitude, my skill set then gets limited. And how do I approach it? I have complete clarity. What is it that I'm going to do in the subject and what is it that I'm going to skip? So for example, permutation and combination and probability, 2 areas I'm not great at. I know what the basic definition is, basic mechanics are, but beyond that, not really great at it. So it's very simple. I'm not going to do it at this stage, right? So I'll rather focus on algebra, arithmetic, my 2 strong areas. I'll make sure I really strengthen them rather than spending my time on an area where I know that I'm really not really good at it, right? So that's the best SWOT analysis that you've got to carry out. You've got to identify what is it that you've got to work on, what is it that is going to be beneficial. There are 2 things which you cannot skip. right? RCs and LRDI sets, right? LRDI is a section in itself, right? So you can probably skip a couple of type of caselets, 2 or 3 type of caselets, or some particular form of logical reasoning or data interpretation sets that you're not able to solve, but majorly you will have to solve majority of them, right? So this is something that has to be there in your daily do's. We will also have a video tomorrow on list of daily do's, basic hygiene things that you've got to do on a daily basis, right? So I'll keep detailing them further. Your task for today, as of now, with this first video is to identify the things that you need to work on further. What is it that you have to skip, and which are the things which are super critical, which cannot be skipped at all. So carry out this analysis, make sure you have the list ready, and then formulate your plan, the amount of time you're giving to different topics, right? Why is it important to do this right now? This brings us to prep ingredient number 3. The important thing is you've got to understand the process of preparation. That is the most important thing. Now, what is the process of preparation and what do we mean by understanding it? See, at the end of the day, what is it that you want? You want to improve, right? You want to improve your scores. That's the bottom line. That is what you want. Now, as far as improvement goes, there are 2 ways of achieving it at this stage with 60 days to go. Thing number 1, you take tests regularly, identify the mistakes that you're committing in those tests, and the next time you take a test, so for example, you take a mock test this week and take a mock test 5 days later, you rectify some of the mistakes that you made in the previous mock test, right? With your attempt, approach, reduce your silly mistakes, improve your question selection. These are all things which fall under the ambit of test taking. I'll create a separate video for this, discussing these pointers in detail. So this is thing number 1. Now you focus on regular test taking. This is super imperative, right? Every week you take your tests, fix your weekly input of tests, keep taking those tests, keep improving. That is one thing that you do. Question selection and reducing mistakes. Now the next thing that you do is side by side you keep adding to your knowledge base, right? So for example, as far as VARC is concerned, areas that you find difficult to read, you learn terminologies from those areas, you read terms, you read things, etc., etc. So you keep adding to your knowledge base, right? For quantitative aptitude, you keep going through concepts. Things you are weak in, you work on them. Things you are strong in, you keep revising them. And thus you keep adding to your knowledge. So it's a combination of these 2 things, right? Regular test taking plus adding to your knowledge. So this is a process that you commit to. Now you've got to understand this process works within that framework of that SWOT analysis. Once you've analyzed the things that you're going to work on, things that you're not going to work on, things which are beneficial at this stage in terms of the possible number of marks that they can give you vis-a-vis the time you invest in them. So if you can come up with that kind of an analysis, right, and that's an analysis that you have to carry out with your own self, right? You have to be honest. You have to identify these are the things that I will do. These are the things that I will not do. Once you've done that thing, once you've identified that particular piece of those, you've analyzed those topics and come up with the list, then your prep becomes easier. Remember, at the end of the day, for the next 60 days, there is nothing outside of this process. It is a process-driven thing. So focus on the process, have your weekly quota of improvement set. I'm going to take 2 tests and improve using these 2 tests, 1 test, 2 tests, whichever number is comfortable with you. And then keep adding to your knowledge base. 3 prep ingredients that you keep in mind, right? So quickly revising and summarizing the video. A, you are not going to collect extra material, right? That's thing number 1 that you are going to do, right? The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to carry out a SWOT analysis, identify what to work on, what to skip. And the last thing is you understand the process of improvement. Make sure you commit to regular test taking and adding to your knowledge. This is the broad framework that you adopt for your preparation. This is it. This is what you've got to stick to. Now, at an individual level, carry out the SWOT analysis, refine this further, identify the set of material that you are solving for the next 2 months, throw out everything that you are not going to solve or touch, right? Just remove it from your mind. Do not have it lying there. Do not have, for example, extra sets of books, things, material that you're not going to solve. Just leave it aside. Do not have it hanging over your head, right? Because that is also going to lower your efficiency. That constant feeling of guilt that I have this thing to solve and I have not solved it. Forget about it. Solve, identify the important things to do and stick to it, right? That is something that you've got to do. Now, as we go forward for each of the areas, right? Starting with VARC, I'll start with mentioning what is it that you've got to do. Essentially, we'll take up one by one different topics. I'll also, you guys are most welcome to leave in comments things that you want me to answer, and I'll create answers for those through this particular set of videos, right? So I'll catch you daily with this set of videos. Hopefully, so this 10-minute video made a lot of sense and it helps you improve your preparation. This is Prashant signing off. Thank you very much for watching this video, and as always, happy learning.